Wow, what an absolutely amazing amplifier. This is the Redstuff 1987 Fat amplifier. This is just such an exquisite piece of gear, and I'm holding in my hand one of only two in the world right now. Yep, this is super exclusive, and it has my name on it. Yeah! So this was built by Stefan Hutter at Redstuff Amplification. Stefan is a very good friend of mine. He's just such a genius with electronics, and such a sweetheart of a guy as well. He's so great. He's a really good friend. And you may have noticed that I did a couple of Redstuff videos last year, and Stefan wanted to build me a 1987 pedal. Anyways, it evolved into a 1987 amplifier. It's an all-in-one box, which is just phenomenal. You know what? This is one of the very best amplifiers I've ever played in my life. I can nail it down to three other amplifiers, I should say, that I've plugged into. Maybe four. Where I've just, plugged in, played a chord and gone, wow! And this is up there with them. It really is that good, in my opinion. I love it, and this one's my one. It's just so cool. So it's got a lot of knobs on it. It's got a lot of features. I'm going to tell you all about it. It might take a while to go through, but I'm going to tell you all about this absolutely wonderful piece of gear. So like I said, it was an evolution of the 1987 pedal, which Stefan makes and has been making for a while, which sounds phenomenal. So the engine in here is actually off the 1987 pedal. It has that sound, it has the features, etc. But it actually turned into a 3-channel amplifier with a 2x25 watt power output. Now why is it 2x25? Well, it's a stereo amplifier. Yeah! Now, in order to really highlight the stereo-ness of it, it also has a built-in stereo delay. Yep, built into this amplifier, and some of the sounds that you heard I had actually recorded wet with the delay on, and you'll hear that in the isolated tracks when you hear that at the end of the video. But this does such a phenomenal job of that. So like I said, it has 3 channels. It has a clean, a rhythm, and a lead. And the clean channel has its own tone stack up here, and the rhythm and lead channels share a tone stack. Now how Stefan basically creates the tone stack is a low, a mid shift, and a high. So the mid shift is actually a frequency sweep, so you can actually sweep the mid frequency to exactly where you'd like it and then boost that signal there. And that's a beautiful thing about this amplifier, because you can really hone in on that mid range that you like the sound of. And once you find that place, then you can basically leave the mid shift there. You're not just committed to the mid control that is built into the amplifier by the manufacturer. You basically kind of choose your own mid range. The Q control at the end here is fantastic because it's a filter sweep as well. Kind of like a very subtle wah effect, but not kind of going waka waka, that type of thing, but just basically having the effect of the wah in a switch position, kind of like how Michael Schenker uses the wah pedal. So like I said, you have 2 tone stacks. You have the clean tone stack up here, and then you have the tone stack for the rhythm and the lead channel, which is shared up here. And then at the end you have the power amp knob as well, which controls how much output it has. And it's a proper 50 watts. It's a proper 50 watt amplifier. It's loud. It is immensely loud when you actually plug in 2 cabs and have it running at 50 watts. It's proper loud. Then on the second row you actually have the gain structure switch. Now this is one of the genius things that Stefan builds into his amplifiers. It actually changes how the clipping works within the amplifier. So it's kind of like having 6 different amplifiers within this one box. And as you change this, it's quite a subtle shift, but you can definitely hear it and feel it when you're actually sitting there with the amplifier. And you know, you have different mid-ranges, you have different gain levels, you have different bass levels, and it's just wonderful to play around with that and figure out the sound which really works for you. You know, which one's your favorite. My favorite is F. So the amplifier lives there basically because it's the highest gain setting, and it just sounds so phenomenally good in that setting, in my opinion. Alright, next to it you've got a more switch, which is just more. Yeah! It gives you more. Then a loop level. Now, it has a built-in effects loop in here, and the loop level actually controls how much of the effect comes in, how it works with the amplifier. And now pedals basically run at a different effects level to rack mount effects unit, so this actually helps with that. Then you actually have the gain controls for the clean, the rhythm and the lead, so you can dial in the gain precisely to how you want it for each of these channels. And the clean channel actually has an additional switch, which is on the side here, which is called clean limit. Now when you actually have it on the off position, you can get a very clean sound from it. When it's on the on position, then you can actually drive it a little bit more. It clips a little bit more, so it adds in a clipping circuit so that you can have a dirtier clean sound if you want it. So the option is there for that. Right next door to it, you actually have the level controls for the clean, the rhythm and the lead. So let's say you want to set up your amplifier to play live, then you can do so with matching up the levels there. You've also got these tiny little mini toggle switches right here in between these knobs here. That's actually a effect boost on each channel. Yep, has a boost built into there. So if this much gain isn't enough, then you can actually flick the switch up and have more. Yeah, which is just phenomenal. And it does sound really good. It properly sounds fat. It does fatten up that tone and that sound. And on the lead channel I usually have it switched on. I like it there. It sounds great. Alrighty, on the bottom you actually have the delay and also then the contour and the presence. So the delay is an analog delay with built-in modulation as well. And this actually makes it very special. So analog delay sounds phenomenal. The modulation actually gives you that kind of tape echo-ish kind of sound, chorusy type of thing going on, and you can really dial it up because it has a depth control and a rate control on there as well. So if you want a very modulated delay sound, then you can absolutely do that, and it does sound fantastic when you do that. Now I have it set to a medium rate and medium depth, and that's just the way I like it, but you know, you can go crazy with it and do some really cool stuff. Now one of the things you can do is actually turn the delay all the way down, turn the mix all the way up, and actually have a very lush stereo chorus going on, because the modulation is basically a chorus. So you have a built-in chorus in here as well. And it's a very awesome sounding chorus, very kind of 80s type of stereo chorus sound. And when I did the clean guitar part, when I recorded it for the track, I actually used the delay in that kind of way. You know, I dialed it up a little bit and I had the rate and the depth, and you can hear that kind of chorusy effect going on as well. And that's what you're hearing. Has a repeat, which is just feedback, and then it has this control, which is divide. And the divide control is awesome because it actually gives you different styles of delay. So rather than just being a quarter note or a half note, it actually has dotted notes in there as well. So as you turn it, you can actually dial in really interesting sounding delays. Just beautiful to use. And then you have a mix control for the level of delay that's going to be going on with your signal. And right in between here, you've got another little mini toggle switch, which is called mix. Now, this is a very powerful control, which I will explain in a second, because when you flick it up, it only outputs to the two outputs, which I'm going to show you in a second. The signal of the 1987, but the delayed signal only. And there's a reason for that, and I will explain it in a second. The contour control is like a depth control, so it controls the low end, and so you can dial in a little bit more kind of, depth in the low end if you want. And it also has a sub switch on there as well, which actually dials in even more really low end, so kind of a sub frequency, which is just beautiful, fills out the soundscape beautifully well. And then you have a presence control at the end, which just gives you that shimmering high end as well. Yep, tons of features. That's why it has so many knobs. But I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And as you heard on the track, it sounds absolutely fantastic. So, like I said, it is a 2 times 25 watt stereo amplifier. It goes out to 2 cabs, which means that 25 watts goes out to each cab. And like I said, the delay actually works in stereo, so when you have it connected to 2 cabinets, you're hearing it in stereo. Built into this. Yeah, they're built in. So phenomenal. Alrighty, so like I said, there's a mix control on there as well. There's a little toggle switch which says mix, right? So what that does is it works in conjunction with this, which is the 1987 dry out. So this actually outputs just the signal off the pedal itself without a power amp, and you can plug it into another amplifier, let's say something like my Blue Guitar Amp 1, and run a 3rd cab from it, and that will be a dry signal. Yeah, so now you've got 3 cabs going with this. So you've got one on the left, which is wet, we've got one in the middle, which is that dry out, which is dry, and then you got one on the right, which is wet again. So you're running a wet, dry, wet setup with just this one box, and obviously another amplifier to power that 3rd signal. You can run a wet, dry, wet with this with a stereo delay. It's just absolutely fantastic that you're able to do that with this single box. Has a loop built into it as well, so if you want to run a reverb into there or other modulation effects, you can do that as well. And then on the back, you actually have a stereo cab simulator. The cab sim sounds absolutely fantastic. It's very, very dialable because it has the volume on it, it has a low end, it has a resonance control on there, it has a response, which is your mid-range, and it also has a volume control and 2 outputs, so you can actually record the stereo delay, stereo chorus, however you set it up, into your DAW. And I actually did that with some of the sounds which you'll hear in the isolated tracks in a second. It is so exquisitely built. Stefan does all of these on a CNC machine, and the machining is just absolutely phenomenal. It's such a beautiful piece of gear. I feel so honoured to own this, and it being my amplifier. I'm so grateful to Stefan for building this. He's done such an incredible job, and as you heard from the track, it just sounds wonderful. Just so harmonically rich and beautiful, and just, I love it. I absolutely adore it. It's a really great addition. Like I said, it's one of the best amplifiers I've ever played in my life. I own 2 of the best amplifiers I've ever played in my life. This one and my Blue Guitar Amp 1, which I absolutely adore as well. Now I know some people are going to ask the question, which one? You know what? They're both phenomenal. And they're just different amplifiers, differently voiced. And I absolutely adore both of them. So there's your answer. If you're wondering that. And if that wasn't enough, then Stefan had also built me a stand for this as well, so that it sits on my desktop just perfectly. He did such a wonderful job of making that stand also. One more thing about this, it has tubes inside as well. Yeah! It has a couple of nanotubes inside the chassis as well, which actually work between the preamp and the power amp. But you know what, rather than me telling you about that, I'm going to let Stefan tell you, because I did an interview with Stefan and spoke to him about this wonderful piece of gear. So I'm going to show you that now. So guys and girls, I have a very, very special guest with me today. I have the absolute genius, who is Stefan Hutter from Redstuff Amplification, who built this absolutely awesome piece of gear. Hi Stefan, how you doing?
Hi Jay, I'm all right. Hope you too.
I'm doing really well. It's good to talk to you in person. Now, most people don't know this, but we actually communicate pretty much every day, right?
Yeah, more than one time a day.
Absolutely, yeah. We're in constant contact over Messenger.
Yeah,
And you're an absolute electronics genius. I mean, you created the 1987, the
yeah.
borderline, and now this absolute marvel, which is just, it's one of the best amplifiers I've ever played in my life. And
Thank you.
I'm so honored that it has my name on it, and
Yes.
you built it, and I have one, to be honest. So um, this was obviously an evolution of the 1987 pedal. Now, I kind of vaguely recall that we were talking about you building me a 1987 pedal, but then it kind of evolved into much more, didn't
Yes. Yes. So it started with the 1987 pedal, and Jay asked me if it's possible to do some light modification at first.
it? Right.
So
right.
one or two different knobs, and yeah, then one idea chased the other.
Right, and it kind of then I did the video for the borderline as well, and we were kind of talking about incorporating a power amp into
Yes.
this, the borderline
Yeah.
type of thing. So that got incorporated into here. Now, obviously, the borderline is 2.5 times 2 watts. Now, this is
Yeah.
like 10 times more powerful. It's
Yeah.
25, right?
Yeah. 2 times 25 watt. Yes.
So you could literally gig with this, right? You could kind of
Yeah.
just plug it into 2 cabs or
That was the intention.
right,
Yeah.
right, or 3 cabs, because I was telling the folks that it actually has a dry out on it as well, which you could plug into a separate power amp into a third cab and run a wet dry wet with a stereo delay,
Yeah.
which is just
So
genius.
you just need one power amplifier
Right,
for the dry signal, and you can have a wet dry wet system, and it's super small, super light, and
right.
sounds that big.
It does. It sounds huge. The folks just heard it on the track, which you heard a few days ago and stuff. So it performed so well. It just sounds so beautiful. Now, you named it the 1987 Fat. Where did the name come from?
Oh, I talked with my friend Jerry Auerswald from Auerswald Instrument, is one of my best friends,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a genius in designing and in art. And we talked about the name, and I thought this and that, and he said, "Hey, just call it Fat, because it does this fat sound." I wanted it to name 1987,
Right.
but it has to be different. People have to recognize this, a different one, and not only a pedal. And so I thought Fat might be the best name for it. Yes.
Absolutely, and it does have a ridiculously fat sound, by the way. It just
Yeah.
sounds so beautiful. Now, 3 channels with a built-in delay as well,
Yeah.
in the effect with modulation and stuff. Well, I think we'd originally talked about expanding it to 3 channels, so to have a dedicated clean channel, because on the original 1987, I loved the response of the clean channel. It just
Yeah.
sounded so good, and just it was almost like there was a compressor already on there, but there wasn't, and it just had that natural kind of just glow to it and just perfect sound. So you expanded it to 3 channels and then added the delay as well. And I can't remember how we came up with the delay thing. I think we simultaneously kind of started talking about it, right?
So the first idea was to build it with 3 channels,
Right.
and because the clean sound needs a different tone stack than a distortion sound,
Mm-hmm.
I did 2 tone stacks, and so the first idea was to put in only one power amp, and I was thinking, okay, what can I do? And then I found a very good electronic part with a stereo amp inside. I thought by myself, okay, if I have a stereo amplifier, I need some kind of stereo effect.
Right.
And that was the idea was born.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it works really well. It just, even through
Yeah.
the cab sim on it is stereo as well,
Yeah.
and that outputs the delay to left and right as well. Correct?
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal. And the cab sim is also tweakable, so you actually have like lows, gain, resonance, response, and volume as well. So you can kind of dial in the highs,
Yeah.
mids, lows to make the cab sim sound exactly the way you want it. Now, one of the G's.
So one main difference to the 1987 pedal is that the FET has two tubes built in.
Right.
So I tried with tubes, without tubes, and with tubes sounds much better.
Right.
And so there was no way back.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, as soon as you start building tubes into something, it just has that vibe, right?
Yeah.
And are do the tubes actually power the clipping circuit, or are they kind of in between the clipping circuit and the power amp, or where are they?
The tubes are in front of the power amp.
Ah, fantastic! Cool.
So it's a cathode follower, and the power amp is in class AB.
Right.
So this is no class D power amplifier. It's class AB, and I love class AB.
Right.
So most guitar amplifiers, tube amplifiers are AB, and the sound's different.
Right, absolutely.
So I wanted to be this way.
Fantastic. And so does it need a load in order to kind of run?
No.
It still runs without the load as well?
Yes.
Fantastic.
So it's a hybrid solution.
Right.
So this means the power amp itself is solid state, but it's driven by tubes.
Got you. Right. So do the tubes actually add just the warmth, or do they add the power? Because obviously in a traditional tube amp, the tubes are actually creating the volume, aren't they? So if you have like EL34s or 6L6s, they're actually...
No, these are preamp tubes.
Right.
And they give that harmonic tube sound.
Right.
The tubes have. And from the output, it's a cathode follower, schematic. And from this output, it goes right in the power amplifier.
Fantastic.
So the power comes from the solid state, but the warmth and the tube tone comes from the tube, obviously.
Cool. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. One of the genius things about the 1987 pedal, and it's on here as well, is the gain structure switch, which actually changes the way the amp feels. It's quite a subtle effect, or control, I should say, but it's very, very powerful because it actually kind of gives you 6 different amplifier styles within one amplifier. Would that be a correct description of the
yes,
gain structure?
You can say it like this, yeah.
Right. My favorite is F.
My favorite is B and F.
Fantastic.
So F is the most powerful. You have the most bass response. If you take the B mode is very, very 80s like.
Right.
Yeah. It's a little smaller. It's a little more warm, I think. But for playing hard and most powerful, you take F.
Yeah, that's kind of what I found. I was actually flicking between B and F, sometimes going to E as well. And the others just sound fantastic as well. It's like having different characters and dialing in different characters for the amplifier as you kind of go through it and stuff. So, it's a beautiful, beautiful control. So, where can people find out information about this if they wanted to inquire about it and check out the details? Where can they go to check it out?
So they can check on my website, and best thing, they contact me, send me an email. Email address is on my website, and I will respond.
Fantastic.
And this is not something that is stock built. So this is custom built to order.
Yep.
And at the moment, there are only 2 units. One is yours and one is mine.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. We're part of a super exclusive club right now, right?
Yeah.
which I'm so grateful for you building this, because the tone from it is just it's so cool, just breathtakingly beautiful. You know, like I said, it's one of the best amplifiers I've ever played, and had the honor of owning. This is in my studio now, so it's going to be used a lot.
So I wanted it to be a all-in-one solution, so you can play it without anything else. You need 1 cabinet or 2 cabinets, the guitar, a cable,
Right,
and you need the fat.
absolutely, yeah, and that's
And what I discovered myself, I plug it into my DAV and DAW, and I can record in, let's say, 1 minute.
yeah,
1 minute, 2 minutes. Yeah.
yeah,
Not much knob twiddling. Almost every setting sounds good to me. So that's the way it has to be.
and also just for playing wherever in the house as well. What I found was, if I'm in the studio, I can plug it into Cubase and record it. If I want to just go and play in the room with my cabs, I've basically just got to take this and the power cable, plug it in, and that's it. I'm done.
And the sound is the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's got the built-in delay, so the ambience is already there.
Yeah.
And I don't have to kind of plug in a separate delay pedal into kind of amplifier. I like my delay, so this works absolutely fantastically well for me. So there you go, folks. The Redstuff 1987 Fat amplifier, and the genius that is Stefan from Redstuff. Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you for building this. Thank you for coming on to the show and sharing some information about this awesome piece of gear.
Okay.
And there you go, guys. Stefan is such a wonderful guy. He's an absolute genius when it comes to making these things and amplifiers and pedals and stuff. Go and check him out at Redstuff Amplifications website. I've left the link in the description box below, so do check out the website and what Stefan does. Alright guys, enjoy the isolated tracks. Have a phenomenal day. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so you know when new videos are going to be coming out. Also, please do give the video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and on social media and stuff like that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm going to give you the isolated tracks of this wonderful amplifier, which I'm so honored to own now. The Redstuff 1987 Fat tones, guys. Fat tones. Yeah!